I never thought a quick trip to Walmart late at night would turn my world upside down and change my life forever. It was nearly closing time, just about an hour left before the doors would shut for the night, and the parking lot outside was almost empty. I was just looking to pick up a few essentials, planning on slipping quietly through the aisles unnoticed and getting out quickly, but fate had other plans. The bright lights felt strangely soothing as I walked through the sliding doors, grabbing a shopping basket and heading toward the aisles. It was quiet, the store nearly deserted, with only a few scattered customers browsing sleepily. I strolled past shelves of cereal and snacks, lost in my thoughts, until a movement caught my attention from the corner of my eye. Turning slightly, I saw him clearly for the first time, a Walmart employee stocking shelves a few aisles over. He was older than me, maybe late 30s, tall and strong-looking. His short dark hair slightly tousled, and his uniform fitting him in a way that caught my breath unexpectedly. There was a quiet, confident intensity about him that instantly captured my attention, making it hard for me to look away. As if sensing my gaze, he turned slightly, our eyes locking for just a brief moment, yet long enough to send a jolt of excitement rushing through me. Embarrassed, I quickly averted my eyes, pretending to examine a box of cereal while my heart pounded nervously in my chest. I moved further down the aisles, trying to shake off the unexpected attraction, convincing myself it was just a fleeting feeling. But somehow, I kept finding reasons to glance back toward him, stealing glimpses of his strong arms moving gracefully as he lifted boxes onto shelves, his confident posture strangely magnetic. Each time, my heart raced faster, my curiosity growing stronger. Without realizing it, I found myself drifting closer toward where he worked, pretending to search the shelves but secretly hoping he'd look up again, hoping he'd notice me. My pulse quickened when I realized he had indeed noticed my presence, his dark eyes briefly flickering toward me, a subtle smile playing at the corners of his mouth. Suddenly, he straightened up, turning toward me directly with a friendly, inviting smile. "Need help finding something?" he asked gently, his voice low and warm, sending another flutter through my stomach. I felt my face flush slightly, embarrassment mixed with excitement as I stumbled for words. "I'm not really sure," I finally admitted, laughing nervously.
I'm just looking."
He nodded slowly, his eyes holding mine for just a second longer than necessary. "Well," he said softly, stepping just slightly closer. "If you need anything at all, my name's Reg." I smiled shyly back at him, heart pounding, realizing this simple late-night shopping trip had suddenly become far more intriguing and far more exciting than I'd ever anticipated. After that brief exchange, I wandered through the aisles feeling a mix of excitement and nervous anticipation that I hadn't felt in years. My original shopping list was forgotten as I drifted aimlessly, replaying our short interaction again and again in my head. I kept trying to convince myself it meant nothing, just a polite Walmart employee offering assistance. But my heart told me differently, racing every time I remembered the warmth in Reg's eyes and the quiet intensity of his gaze. Eventually, I found myself near the back of the store, close to the storage area, an isolated corner away from the sparse remaining shoppers. My heart skipped suddenly when I heard quiet footsteps approaching. Turning around, I saw Reg walking towards me, holding a few boxes in his hands, that gentle yet knowing smile once again on his lips. "We keep running into each other," he said softly, amusement and warmth dancing in his eyes. He set the boxes down carefully, stepping closer, close enough that I could feel the heat radiating from his body, making my breath hitch softly in my throat. "Yeah," I replied quietly, feeling shy yet drawn irresistibly closer to him, my pulse quickening from our proximity. "Guess it's fate." His smile widened slightly at my words, eyes darkening subtly with something deeper, more intimate. He glanced around carefully, ensuring we were alone, before lowering his voice even further, creating an intimate space between us. "I don't normally do this," Reg whispered, stepping even closer, the gap between us narrowing dangerously, excitingly. "But there's just something about you. I couldn't stay away." My heart hammered in my chest as I realized he felt the same intense pull I did. Without even thinking, I moved closer still, our bodies nearly touching. The air between us thickened, charged with electricity and unspoken desire. Me neither, I confessed softly, heart racing uncontrollably. I don't usually act this way, but I can't seem to stop myself around you. Reg smiled warmly, his eyes gently holding mine as he slowly reached out, his fingertips lightly brushing against my wrist. The simple touch sent sparks flying through my body, and instinctively I leaned toward him, craving more of that irresistible connection. Carefully, he guided me further back, into the shadows near the warehouse entrance, a private corner away from prying eyes, yet thrillingly close to where others could easily walk by. Our breathing grew heavier, anticipation mounting, aware of the danger, yet too captivated by the moment to care. I've wanted to do this since you walked in, Reg admitted softly, his hand sliding slowly up my arm. Hey, thanks for watching until this point. Please leave a comment if you're enjoying the video. It really helps us grow the channel and reach more people. And hey, thank you very much. Let's get back to story. The warmth of his touch igniting a fire beneath my skin. Then don't stop, I whispered breathlessly, my eyes locking onto his lips, waiting for the inevitable kiss that would finally bridge the gap between us. And as Reg leaned in, his lips gently meeting mine in a slow, intoxicating kiss, I knew in that moment my life had changed forever. The kiss quickly deepened, evolving from cautious and gentle into something far more passionate, urgent, and thrillingly intense. Reg's lips moved confidently against mine, each movement sending a powerful wave of desire coursing through my body. His strong hands gently grasped my waist, pulling me closer until our bodies pressed firmly together, heat radiating between us, undeniable and intoxicating. I reached up instinctively, fingers tangling in his soft hair, holding him even closer, needing more of the warmth and affection radiating from him. Every caress, every gentle stroke of his fingertips sent delicious shivers racing along my spine. Reg's mouth moved from my lips, gently trailing kisses along my jawline, then lower down the sensitive skin of my neck, causing me to gasp softly at the incredible sensation. We should be careful, Reg murmured softly against my skin, breath warm and enticing, sending goosebumps cascading across my body. Someone could come back here any minute and see us. I knew he was right. At any moment, another employee or even a customer might stumble upon us, hidden away in this darkened corner of the warehouse. But somehow, the danger of being caught only made everything more thrilling, more urgent. My heart raced faster with each passing second, adrenaline surging powerfully, heightening every sensation. Let them, I whispered breathlessly, my voice trembling slightly as I pulled him back to my lips again, needing the taste of him more than anything else. It's worth the risk. Reg groaned softly in agreement, deepening our kiss even further, one hand gently sliding beneath my shirt, fingers exploring slowly, tentatively, tracing a path along my bare skin. My body arched instinctively toward him, eager for more, feeling every nerve ending ignite beneath his tender, teasing touch. Our breathing grew ragged, the quiet sounds of our gasps and whispered encouragement blending with the distant hum of the store, reminding us constantly of our risky surroundings. Every creak or distant sound from the warehouse caused my pulse to spike, yet I couldn't pull away. Instead, it drew me closer, craving more of the illicit thrill of the moment. I can't believe how much I want you, Reg whispered, his voice thick with desire and surprise, lips barely brushing my ear, sending another wave of heat through me. I feel exactly the same, I admitted softly, heart pounding fiercely. I don't care if it's crazy. I need this. I need you. His eyes darkened further at my words, passion and hunger evident as he pulled me against him once again, kissing me deeply, possessively. Our caution slowly melted away, replaced by a shared urgency and longing we couldn't deny. Every logical thought I had about stopping, about being careful, about the very real possibility of being caught, melted the moment Reg pulled me in closer, his lips returning to mine with even more urgency. The dimly lit warehouse, the hum of the store just beyond the metal racks, the occasional rustling of boxes somewhere in the distance. It all added to the delicious thrill of the moment, making my heart race even faster. Reg's hands slid lower, strong and sure, as he guided me back against a stack of sealed boxes, pressing his body flush against mine. The heat between us was undeniable, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. His scent, clean with a faint trace of something rugged and masculine, filled my senses, making me dizzy with desire. "We really shouldn't be doing this here," he murmured, his breath hot against my ear. But the way his hands continued to roam over my body betrayed his words. His fingertips traced slow, teasing circles along my waist, causing goosebumps to erupt over my skin. "Then stop," I whispered back, though we both knew I didn't mean it. Reg let out a low chuckle, the sound sending another wave of excitement through me. "You don't want me to stop," he said knowingly, pressing another lingering kiss just below my jawline. He was right, I didn't. The risk, the stolen moment, the intensity of the attraction pulling us together. It all felt too electric, too consuming to resist. A distant sound, a rolling cart, the faint chatter of an employee from the front of the store, sent a jolt through me. Reg must have felt it too, because he stilled for a brief second before looking down at me, amusement flickering in his dark eyes. "Still feeling brave?" he teased, voice barely above a whisper. I bit my lip, pulse hammering wildly. "I think that makes it even hotter," I admitted, surprising even myself with the honesty. Reg groaned softly at my words, his grip on my waist tightening. "You're dangerous," he muttered, though his lips were already returning to mine, deepening the kiss, making my head spin. The thrill of possibly being caught was almost unbearable, making every touch, every stolen breath between us feel even more intoxicating. His hands explored slowly, deliberately, fingertips grazing across my stomach, my sides, my lower back, memorizing every curve as I shivered under his touch. Another faint noise in the distance. A door opening somewhere, footsteps echoing across the concrete floor, made us freeze for a split second, our breathing ragged, eyes locking as we listened. The tension crackled between us, both knowing we should stop, but neither willing to pull away. Reg exhaled sharply, his forehead resting against mine as he tried to steady his breath. "I can't believe we're doing this," he murmured, though the way his hands were still exploring me said otherwise. "Neither can I," admitted, grinning slightly despite the fact that my heart was still hammering. For a long moment, we stayed like that, pressed against each other in the hidden shadows of the warehouse, pulses racing, knowing full well that we were one wrong move away from being discovered. But somehow, that only made it all the more impossible to stop. The footsteps faded, disappearing into the distance, leaving us once again in the intoxicating quiet of our secret corner of the warehouse. Reg let out a slow breath, his forehead still resting against mine, and I could feel the way his chest rose and fell, matching my own erratic breathing. Every inch of me was on fire, my body still reacting to his every touch, the thrill of almost getting caught sending fresh waves of heat through me. I smirked slightly, still breathless. "I think that was close." Reg chuckled, the deep rumble vibrating against my chest where our bodies were still pressed together. "Too close," he admitted, though the wicked gleam in his eyes suggested he wasn't regretting a single second of it. We stood there for a moment, letting the intensity settle around us, neither of us ready to break the spell. His hands were still firm on my waist, his thumbs rubbing slow, absent-minded circles against my skin. I loved the way he touched me, like he was memorizing every inch, like he wanted to keep me close even though we were standing in a place where we shouldn't be doing any of this. "You drive me crazy, you know that?" Reg finally murmured, shaking his head slightly, his fingers tightening at my hips. I grinned, tilting my head slightly. "Good crazy or bad crazy?" His dark eyes held mine, filled with a mix of desire and something deeper, something more dangerous. "A little of both," he admitted with a smirk, before brushing his lips against mine again. Softer this time, slower, as if savoring the moment. The intensity from before was still there, simmering just beneath the surface. But now there was something else. A quiet, unexpected tenderness that caught me off guard. This wasn't just about the thrill of the moment or the heat of the attraction. There was something deeper growing between us, something neither of us had planned for. I exhaled slowly, fingers sliding up his arms, feeling the solid strength beneath his uniform. "Reg," I murmured, hesitating slightly, the weight of reality creeping in. "What happens now?" He studied me for a long second, his expression unreadable. Then, to my surprise, he let out a quiet laugh, shaking his head. "You really think I have an answer for that?" His hands slid from my waist, fingers brushing against mine before he intertwined them together, squeezing lightly. "I don't know, Steve, but I know I don't want this to be the last time I see you." My chest tightened at his words, a warmth spreading through me that had nothing to do with the heat of the moment and everything to do with the man standing in front of me. I hadn't expected this. I had walked into Walmart for something simple, something mundane, and instead, I had walked straight into something that felt like the start of something real. "I don't either," I admitted quietly, squeezing his hands back. "But how do we even?" A sudden loud noise from the front of the store made both of us jump slightly, pulling us back to reality. The moment was slipping away, the spell breaking, reminding us that we were still in a warehouse, still in a store that was closing soon, and still dangerously close to being caught. Reg sighed, running a hand through his dark hair, glancing toward the direction of the sound. "I should probably get back to work before someone actually comes looking for me," he muttered, but his eyes didn't leave mine. I nodded slowly, the weight of the night settling in. "And I should probably actually buy something so this trip doesn't look suspicious," I joked, but there was an undeniable heaviness in my voice, the lingering feeling that I wasn't ready to leave just yet. Reg exhaled through his nose, smirking slightly as he reached up, brushing a thumb lightly across my jaw. "If you leave without getting my number, I might have to track you down in the aisles." I laughed, the tension between us easing slightly. "That doesn't sound like the worst thing." He pulled out his phone, quickly typing his number into mine before handing it back. "Text me when you get home," he said, his voice softer now, the teasing replaced with something more sincere. "I mean it," I swallowed, nodding as I pocketed my phone. "I will." He hesitated for just a moment, as if debating whether to pull me in for one last kiss. But then he took a slow step back, offering me one final lingering glance before disappearing down the aisle, back to reality, back to work. I stood there for a second, letting out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. I had come to Walmart late at night for a few groceries, and somehow, I had left with something completely unexpected. And as I walked back through the store, heart still racing, fingers still tingling from his touch, I knew this wasn't just a one-time encounter. This was only the beginning. I walked out of Walmart that night with a bag of random items I barely remembered picking up and a heart that felt fuller than when I had arrived. The cool night air hit my skin as I stepped outside, but it did nothing to cool the heat still lingering from my encounter with Reg. My fingers hovered over my phone as I slid into my car, staring at the number he had entered just minutes ago. Should I text him now? Should I wait? I exhaled, shaking my head with a quiet laugh at myself. Why was I overthinking this? We had just spent the last 30 minutes pressed up against each other in a dimly lit warehouse, stealing kisses and pushing boundaries neither of us had expected to cross. And now, I was acting like a nervous teenager debating whether or not to send a simple text. Screw it. Me made it home. But I feel like I forgot to buy half the things I actually went in for. I stared at the message for a second before hitting send. My stomach tightened with anticipation, waiting, hoping. Then, just a few seconds later, my phone vibrated. Reg. Yeah? Well, I was supposed to be working, and look how that turned out. I laughed, the tension inside me easing instantly. Me true. Guess we're both a little distracted tonight. Reg, guess so. There was a pause. I could see the typing bubbles appear and disappear a couple of times, as if he was thinking through what to say next. Then, Reg, I want to see you again, Steve. And not just at Walmart. My chest tightened at his words, warmth spreading through me. I had hoped for this. Hell, I had wanted this. But seeing him actually say it made something inside me settle, like everything had just clicked into place. I was hoping you'd say that. Reg, good. Because I would have found an excuse to get you back here if you hadn't. I grinned, biting my lip as I stared at his words. The confidence, the playfulness. It made my stomach flip in a way I hadn't felt in a long time. So when do I get to see you outside of a stockroom? Reg, how about tomorrow? Dinner? Somewhere where I'm not in a Walmart vest. I smiled to myself, my heart pounding just a little faster at the thought. Sounds perfect. Pick me up at 7? Reg, it's a date. I leaned back in my seat, staring up at the dark sky, feeling lighter than I had in a long time. I had gone to Walmart for something simple, milk, eggs, maybe a snack or two. But I had left with something far better, something I hadn't even realized I was missing. Reg, this wasn't just some fleeting moment, a night of reckless impulsivity to be forgotten in the morning. No, this was something real, something that made my chest tighten in the best possible way. And as I drove home, a smile playing on my lips, I knew without a doubt, this was just the beginning.